That's about right. Hopefully that stays there. So, welcome to my blog. I've got this perch right up. Vlog, van life, living in your van, was a minivan. So, now I come to the conclusion that a lot of van life, and I've seen this on other videos, comments too, a lot of it is kind of just boring. I mean, I went camping, you know. I went camping out into the bush. I went on a travel between New South Wales. I went down to Victoria. Went to, ACT, I suppose that's in New South Wales too. Well, it's fine, but a lot of it is just doing everyday stuff that everybody else does. You know, it's a nomadic type of lifestyle. It's not really doing new, except it's in a vehicle. And I was a bit more late to the game. And basically you're doing normal stuff. So, doing shopping, you know, cooking, cleaning. And I am cleaning now. I don't have a sink, or I don't know if I'm going to put one in yet. But this is a van build in progress. And basically, you're just doing, you're going places and taking pictures, but a lot of it's just like normal. So I'm cleaning now. I don't have a sink, as I said, and I'm using a spray bottle with vinegar in it. I think this vinegar is not strong enough. I should get the more cheap and nasty stuff. And basically absorbent towels. So I go through a decent amount of absorbent towel for it. And that's a way to keep it clean. Keep like cutlery and that clean here. And keep all your plates and whatever else clean. Should clean this pan actually. And so you travel into these nice places and they all look good and it's good. And I think it depends on what you've got in your life, because there's a lot of van life people have either you get a kind of a misrepresentation of it. I wasn't really getting misrepresented because just watching people that do it all glorified. They're very successful though. They're very glorified. I do have some other stuff, like I'm doing study and stuff like that. But like quite a few people, I've chosen it, especially guys who seem to have done it. So I've chosen van life. So I don't know. For instance, sleeping places. At the moment, I'm sleeping near a beach place. There's no parking regulation. If I advertised where this was, no doubt it might fill up and eventually would get kind of controlled. But it's not that cheap when you're traveling either. So I traveled through New South Wales, ACT, Victoria, and South Australia. And New South Wales, I think, I was doing, a lot of times I was just camping in like national conservation parks. So it's like preset camping there. So in New South Wales, the rate was about $12. I went to one that was particularly good. It didn't have showers, which is very important. But it did have free wood firewood to use, had toilets. And so I stayed there. That was the first place I think I camped out there. I was just driving along. And that wasn't too bad. I went to another place. I think it wasn't national parks. It was water, Sydney Water or whatever it was controlled by. And that was only like they say there's no booking fee. There's no camping fee or whatever, but you got to pay a booking fee. That's right, and the booking fee is $6, so it was cheaper there. On that one, and that was just like a couple of weeks ago, I ended up getting a paralysis tick when I was leaving. Just when I was leaving. So yeah, I got a paralysis tick, and you're not supposed to touch it. You're not supposed to remove it with tweezers actually. And so basically, I went to like there's a small town attached to this place. Was it Belila? I can't remember. Anyway, I got a little spray, sprayed the tick. It died pretty quickly. I think I sprayed it a couple of times. You're not really supposed to, but just to make sure. And then it says this is going to detach, but it said this tick in particular is very kind of, even when it's dead, it kind of holds on for a long time. And I was looking 5 hours. It said after 9 hours, it was still attached, and I thought it's time for it to come off. It was truly dead too. I was worried that if you attach it too long, maybe it can, finally release its stuff into you or whatever. It's not done that already. And so I did buy tweezers and pulled it, and it was still strong. It still hooked itself in there. I didn't get any effects from it, but you can get a number of different things from it, including, I believe, what is it? Lyme disease, which seems to be spreading at the moment. A lot of people getting Lyme disease, probably from ticks. That's pretty debilitating. Yeah. It make van life really hard too. It's very tiring, exhausting. It doesn't kill you, but from what I understand, but it can make you very just exhausted that you can't really do much. So I removed that. I haven't got any of those effects, thankfully. There's a bunch of other stuff that you can catch from it too, so you've got to watch for the next couple of weeks. But the infection, the site it was on the back of the leg, and it didn't get infected or anything like that. But yeah, it's kind of, I suppose you could say I contradicted that. Was that interesting? I don't know. Was that interesting to do that? You're out here, you're traveling around, especially when you go out into the environment, especially into regional areas, you're more likely to be exposed to things like that. So I drove down, I think that was the second one. I went to a third one. The toilet's been vandalized. The showers, I should say, have been vandalized. Still toilets there. Some of these places have hikes. One place was closed. The first place had a nice waterfalls and stuff like that. Apsley Falls or whatever. But the rest of them didn't. The third one, of course, the place I camped was it was dead. There was no one there except me, and the showers had been vandalized or shut down. So they were getting opened up again, I think, afterwards, after I left. So yeah, I went to, was I in Victoria at this time? Yes, that was, the third one was in Victoria. I went down some places I just can't remember. You used to sleep over there. I've slept in other places, like little towns. Like they offer, some of the regional towns in New South Wales, Victoria, whatever, they offer some places where you can just park and have showers and stuff like that. I went to one little place. It had showers and toilets, but the toilet wasn't very, the male toilet wasn't very good. So I had to go, the disabled one wasn't good either. So I had to actually go into the female toilet. There's no one around because I needed the toilet. But the male toilet shower was fine. So when I try to go into the showers, I try to clean them up because a lot of them some of them are volunteers and they put up there, but the maintenance is not good. I went into one place that was just full of spiders. But still, I cleaned it up, brushed it a little bit. I think people, if you're using those facilities, you should probably, if they're dirty or that, try to clean them up, and don't leave your crap in there either. And that, I think the volunteer stuff is a bit, it's not the best, you know. Or maybe it happens and someone dies or whatever, and they just get old, especially out in those areas. People just don't have the time. But yeah, I donate some money there and there. I used one in a caravan park too. They were selling it for $5 showers. This is funny because I actually have gym membership. I have membership at what is it called? 24-hour fitness. Yeah. Is it 24-hour fitness? Anytime Fitness. Yeah, Anytime, whatever. The biggest one, Anytime. In America, often the biggest one is it? What is it? Fitness First? Fitness something. But here it's Anytime Fitness. It has like ones in every capital city and regional areas that had them too. And but the thing is, I was in my first month, so I couldn't use it apparently. But afterwards I did. So I've used it a couple places. The ones I've been to at the moment, they don't seem to have like stalls. So that was I wasn't expecting. They seem to have like a toilet shower thing that's kind of just, it's just by itself. So they only have like 2 or 3 of them. So Anytime Fitness, a lot of them the gym is it's small size. I watched probably a lot of American stuff, and it tended to be more about stalls. So yeah. Then I went to I went to a more of a beachside place. I got down to South Australia and I went to a beachside place. And I stayed in one there, and the parks in South Australia are very expensive, like $19, sorry. $19 is more at the expensive end. You get your toilet and that there and camping. But the first place I stayed in, it was it was in the same beachside place. It had some branches and stuff that it looked like it broken, and it was very windy, and I was worried whether it was going to land on my vehicle, you know, when I was sleeping. It didn't. There was none of them cracked, but I parked on the outside of it. Little campsite. They're all numbered, so. And then the next night, I just parked in the same town, but there was this outlook, this kind of like scenic point that looked out to the sea and a cliff. Very few people around. It was much better. Not paid, free. Perfect. It was best. I stayed there, and they had full drive tracks there now. I went on a walk. But yeah, it wasn't too bad. That was probably the best part. And now I'm back in, because I went out from Adelaide. Now I'm back here to collect some stuff, do a couple of things, and that. I should go back. When I went to Melbourne, I didn't have solar panel, but I purchased a solar panel. I have an EcoFlow, not a battery system yet. The EcoFlow, it was a rainy day, and I got to store it, and I finally understood how it worked. It was much more simpler than what I thought it would be. I I was kind of like overly, like these things overly complex in my mind, when in fact it wasn't that hard to well, it was a little bit difficult to get into place, but once I screwed it in, it was totally fine. I made a quick video about it. Oh, there was another place I camped before that. Was nothing much of opposite. Oh no, I camped in 2 golf courses too. Never mind. The golf course one was good too. Golf course in New South Wales. And then there was an outcrop golf course. But the solar panel is good. 200 watt Renogy Shadow Flux. I'm not paid to sponsor them. It's kind of cloudy at the moment. I'm getting about 61, so about 60 watts at the moment coming in. I'm thinking of putting an EcoFlow AC in it, because this thing doesn't have AC. And I wanted to go up to Darwin, maybe, but I think if I needed Darwin, I needed much more good batteries. I haven't really got room for another solar panel though. The EcoFlow has a battery, but it only runs good on economy, apparently, for 8 hours. And I'm not sure, that's kind of like a lab, like in vitro, inside a lab testing, you know, not with controlled conditions and like out in the environment where you've got changing conditions, or maybe it's more to the edge. And that would cost about $3,000 too for that, because you got to buy the system, and then you got to buy this battery attached to it, which isn't that much, that good. And then I would have to tie it into the system that I've currently got. So I don't know if the solar panel could really handle it, or I should say, I don't think it would generate enough electricity for it. But I don't know how much more to spend on this vehicle. The vehicle runs well, but it is actually old. So I don't know how much more effort or money to spend on it. Chewing up petrol, it's economical. I think 8-9 liters at 100 k's. It's an old Toyota Tarago, but it got maintained as well. But yeah, besides, you have all these things you have to do, right? And a lot of it's maintenance, or kind of normal stuff like shopping and stuff like that. And it's okay. It's okay, but it's just normal. Like, it's not really any different from living in a house. But you have to. But it may be a little bit more labor intensive than you like. And at least till you got like a routine established. So you have to work on these things inside your for yourself. What's important, what irritates you, what needs to be done. So that's why, like, a van build is very personal. It's about what you find to be what you have placed as most important, what irritates you more than other people's stuff. So like keep it clean. So you do these type of things. So this vinegar thing, I think I got this off of Bren P. Grace. And I think he got this off of other people, because these things all been around. But yeah, spray bottle, vinegar. So I've just watched a lot of YouTube videos and got how things are done from different people, and then you pick and choose what you want. But yeah, it's like a lot of it's just mundane, just like everybody else's life. And then you're looking for labor-saving devices or labor-saving organization. So if you get stuff organized more, or you get smaller, it's much more handy. And then you can relax more. The worst thing is having trouble to find something. Because believe you me, this may be a small environment, but if thing is not in that actual place you put it, or you think you put it, it can be a real pain. You have to try to find it. I think this van in particular, my build, it's been partially influenced by, I always forget that guy's name, Love's World, the French guy, I can't remember. I always remember his first name, something Love's World. And also influenced by Static Camper Van. So some of Static Camper Van's stuff I did. I mean, this is Australia, so we don't have the Sienna, I should say. We don't have a Toyota Sienna. And the Sienna, I believe, is a bit bigger than this Tarago. And they don't actually make this equivalent of vehicle anymore. Like, they don't make, Tarago is basically a rebadge of a basic rebadge, because it's a basic version of an S steamer. Sold in Japan. So I don't know. I think part of the so people try to solve, because I always like to solve the boring days or the boredom of it with other stuff. They try to fill it up, so they try to go do stuff, join clubs. It depends on the lifestyle you use with it. I mean, if you're camping out all the time or going out into regional areas, then there's not so many groups to go to. Just the same as any country, like, you know. But you're always trying to, I think, solve. I still have stuff at study I'm completing. I'm not really sure I'm going to persevere with this. It's interesting. It's a lifestyle, and I did it for an interesting purpose. I did it because it was interesting, I should say, and I watched so much of it. Like a few other people did the same too. Watched others, and then finally got to doing it. And you know, you make it your own, but whether it's really suitable to you, I don't know. I think it also depends on the country you live in. Like, to be honest, some countries have more infrastructure. Like America, for instance, has more infrastructure here than Australia. I think someone else described it very aptly. Australians expect you, when you're camping out, more roughing it, and so you don't have so much of you have road infrastructure and that, but it's not the same as America. Like, and you don't. A lot of the country is sparsely inhabited for the most part. Most of the country, it's not that. The environment's not that suitable, I think, and it's a newer country, but it's not that as suitable to differences. It has variations, but it doesn't have, so the geography is not as different places to explore and so forth. But yeah, the infrastructure, I think they do rough it more. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if this has a point. You know, I've watched different people. I watched many different people doing videos. I also watched another guy called Ryan Boundless. I actually watched him before he did. Before he did videos, before he did car life or whatever. So I know a lot what I've done. I also lived in Japan too, so I watched him during that time. So he's in America. I don't necessarily align to his stuff because I think it's a bit. I think some of it is kind of a bit bitter, and some of it's just kind of like bipolarness that he doesn't acknowledge. I think he has like bipolarness from his father. There's a whole story behind it, but his behavior kind of tends to align with that. Right. Yeah. But I don't, to be honest, I'm kind of here or there. I don't know if there is I don't think there's a future here. What I want to say is, I don't really want to live my life out and then die inside a minivan. And I'm not sure if I want to do that in a larger van either. I think I would like the comfort of a larger van more. There's definitely more money involved in doing that. I would need to take more time because this one didn't have much time. Because I left Japan and then I was coming. I stayed 1 week in a hotel and just did this and got it up to a basic grade to start doing this. But I got influenced too much by American videos, I think, because the Australian is just not the same. You know, you don't have the same ethos. Most people out there are doing vans or camper vans or living out there. In Australia, they're old. They're known as the nomads. And America has a huge population like that too in America. In Australia, they're known as grey nomads. I don't know if they have a name in America. And the vast majority in Australia are just grey nomads, retired people running around in these things. They seem to favour a camper trailer more attached to a vehicle rather than an RV. But there's RVs too. And then you have backpackers. There's a lot of backpackers, and these vehicles. This is not one. I converted this myself. The Taraga was used in a business, and before that was government fleet, but in the similar business field. So, but a lot of these vans go through cycles with backpackers. So, you know, backpacker leaves, they sell it before they leave, and then they sell it to another backpacker, and then that backpacker does the same thing again and again. And to get to the point, a lot of people are not living in the amount of people like in America is not the same. Like the amount of people I think living in vehicles in America is a lot more. And I mean people who are living in a vehicle by choice is a lot more in America than, and choice is subjective I suppose, versus here. Versus here you've got the majority of people, I should say that the majority of people at that age group are retired, and then you have backpackers, and then you might have people who are forced into it, and then you have people who choose, who are not retired like myself, but are doing stuff. But we're a very, very small amount in Australia. It's kind of I don't know if it's disheartening, but it feels like there's not as much of a community for that aspect there. So, and here Here it's just not enough. There's not much of a community here for it. So I feel that that's a negative aspect in Australia of it. And you have all the same problems have you in America. Different parking. You travel to different towns. Some are more aggressive. Some like it. Some encourage it. Some are soft on it. They have housing issue here. Not enough supply related to bringing in immigrant numbers, which has just made it worse. And then house values and then rent values. That went into my consideration because the rent's kind of expensive. I mean, you're going to spend $250 a week, and you're only sharing with someone else, and I don't really want to do that. So, I've got a small vehicle, but at least I don't have to share. And I think that comes to a relevant point. I suppose the final point in this rant, which I went all over the place, is that I think the boredom, in part, is because you don't have someone to share it with. It is. So some people get pets and dogs, pets and dogs. They get pets. So sometimes they get cats and dogs. Cats are less rare, more like dogs. I don't really want to be responsible to have a pet in this vehicle and have to think about it all the time. It's going to get really hot in here. It's not like a house, where they can go, even in a hotter house, they'll go hide somewhere or sit, whatever. But in here, it'll cook. People die and people die in these vehicles, and so a pet could possibly. I don't need that extra responsibility on it, because all I have is this place to live in. I don't have any other place to go to drop it off. Ran out of relatives too, so they all died, the people. So only people I know are overseas. So you have, it's a little bit lonely, and sometimes. So some people, so I don't know if I persist with it. I've got some few things on the horizon. I'm considering. Like I want to go to Darwin, and the temperature of this vehicle won't be so good in there. It's okay when it's cool, but in the heat, it's very hard to solve. And that's pretty much heat all the time, just between a wet season and a dry season. I think that's about the end in this rant. It's okay. I'll probably try to do some hiking more. I'm getting to a point where I'm about to finish my studies on this subject, and I might go into another one. But yeah, it's been a nice rant anyway. Okay, see you later, folks. Bye bye.